Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to do a little bit of an unboxing and to take a look at what goodie we have today. And so let's jump in. B&H delivered something new to my door today, so we're going to jump in and take a look. And inside we have a new Canon box, a new Canon lens, and it is what I consider to be one of perhaps the most important lenses of the year for Canon shooters, and that is the new Canon EF 16 to 35 millimeter f2.8L Mark III USM lens. The 16 to 35 f2.8L has been kind of the mainstay for photojournalists, landscape photographers, wedding photographers, you name it. It's been the wide-angle zoom of choice for Canon shooters for a long time. And so this new version is incredibly important because while the old version has been successfully used by many people for a very long time, it had some pretty significant flaws, and you'll find that I did a review of that last year. And I also did a comparison against the newer 16 to 35 f4L IS along with the Tamron 15 to 30 f2.8 VC. And in almost every measurable category, the previous generation of Canon 16 to 35 f2.8L, it came out on the bottom of those comparisons. And so it was certainly due an update. And I am really excited to take a look at this lens because for a number of reasons, the MTF charts show a dramatically improved resolution. And the reality is that all of Canon's recent major lens releases have actually been really good. And so it gives me high expectations for this lens. I'm sure it's going to focus excellent. If it's sharp and it has good performance, including good coma performance for shooting the night sky, I'm personally going to be very tempted by this lens. I actually really like the Tamron 15 to 30 f2.8, but it's not without its flaws, including being large and heavy. And on top of that, it has that curved front element, which means that you have to use big, bulky add-on filter systems to add filters to it. So it'd be kind of fantastic to use a lens that is equally sharp with equal aperture and at the same time to be able to use traditional filters and a smaller, more portable form factor. So let's see if that's in fact the case. As we open it up and we take a look inside, we see that there's the warranty card. There is Canon's slightly padded sock that they substitute for a real case for lenses like that. Come on, Canon, time to step that part of your game up. As we look a little bit further inside, poking through a few of these layers, we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of the lens itself. And so we have a lens hood. Unfortunately, this lens hood continues to be really not all that impressive. As you can see, it's extremely shallow, and while it doesn't go out wide like the previous generation did, that's an improvement. I have a hard time seeing a lot of the value for a lens hood like this. Perhaps it adds some value of protecting the front element, but in terms of blocking the amount of light or actually shading this front element, I just don't see how something so shallow is going to make much of a difference. And so how useful this is maybe might be up to you. But as we look at the lens itself inside, we find pretty much what we expected. It is pretty close to the same body that the 16 to 35 f4L IS has. And so it's very similar to that. You'll find a nice moving manual focus ring, and then the actual zoom action is very, very smooth. It's an internally zooming lens like the previous generation, and it just moves, with very little effort from 35 millimeters to 16 millimeters and back and forth. On top of that, there is the distance window, and beyond that, there aren't really any kind of hyperfocal marks there, and so as far as actually, focusing in that way, you're pretty much going to have to rely on AF. It has one switch on it, and that's simply the on and off switch for autofocus and manual focus. So I'm going to give you a little closer look at the actual build of the lens itself, and we'll examine it. According to Canon's reports, it has some significant weather sealing to it, and I can see the gasket here, but there are to be also a number of internal seals that should give it a strong performance in that aspect. If we look towards the front and realize the lens hood is the one that has the button, you need to click it to release it. The front element is 82 millimeters, and and so while that's on the larger side, it's the same as the previous generation. And these days there are more lenses that use that standard, and so filters are both easier to find and also a little bit less expensive. It's really not into the ridiculous range at all, and so I consider that to be a plus when we come to that. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with this lens. I do note that there is a little bit of internal movement in and out that you can see, but it never extends beyond that front edge of the actual outward casing of the lens, and so in that sense it continues to be an internally zooming lens. I'm Dustin Abbott, and on top of this, I'm also going to be taking a look. I'm expecting it to arrive probably today yet, and that is the new Tamron 150 to 600 millimeter G2 version of that lens, and a lot of photographers are really interested in that. Appears to have better resolution on the long end, along with a number of updates to the actual physical design that promise to make it a more effective competitor to the Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter sport version of the lens. So I'm excited by that, looking forward to taking a look at that as well. And I'll also soon be looking at the new 24 to 105 f4L IS Mark II from Canon heading your way, and as well as giving you a look at some other gear. New cotton carrier that I'm using right now, some new lighting systems, Vanguard rolling bag, and then a backpack. So a number of great things that'll be coming your way in the near future. I'll throw a link down below to an image gallery that I'll be starting up today of taking images with this that I'll be adding to over the period of my review, so you'll want to check that out on a regular basis. You can find that link down below, as well as links to follow me on social media. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.